Francine Juline here, and I am the host of Parents Talk, delivering tips on how to raise confident kids. I am also the founder of the Confident Club for Kids, which is an online membership program for children. And today I have Marva Riley with me. She is a holistic health advocate and a registered nurse. And Marva's about everything healthy, organic, getting out and moving, and just all around leading a healthy lifestyle. And today we're going to talk about how you can incorporate some of her tips and ideas into your family meal planning and just lifestyle, because Marva's going to tell you that a healthy kid's a confident. Marva, you told me this great story. Will you please tell the viewers?
Okay, well, I also want to let our viewers know that I am a grandmother of 6 beautiful children. I have 4 granddaughters and I have 2 grandsons, the oldest of which is 5. So I relate to what your mission is. And the story I told you about earlier is about my son. I have 2 kids. My son is 40 and he has 3 kids, and my daughter is 43 and she is 3. And when my son was younger, probably 10, he started eating. When we would give him his pocket money, he would buy all kinds of junk. We never served junk in our house. And he would start buying this junk and eating. He went through a period of rebellion. When he was 12, the same thing. He kept eating really, really bad, sit around playing Nintendo. No matter what we said to him, he was just rebellious. What can I say? And he started gaining a lot of weight, and he became an obese child and an obese pre-teenager and an obese teenager. And with that obesity came a lack of self-confidence. And with that lack of self-confidence came a ton of behavioral issues, which we can go into if you would like me to.
Yeah, can you tell some of these so parents can recognize it in their kids? Maybe their kids are showing some of these signs, but they don't know what's causing it. So if you share your experience, maybe they could resonate with something that's going on in their life.
That's right. Yeah, because we had a stable home. My kids had their mom and dad in the home. We were very involved in church. We were very involved in the community. I was a very involved mom. I was always going to the school. They always said to me, "Oh, Miss Marva, Marva isn't getting into any trouble." And I would say, well, that's precisely why I'm here, because I want to keep it that way. Very involved with my kids' life. We would go to their soccer game. They would be involved in church, everything. So we had a very balanced life at home. We ate healthy. We were physical parents as well. But when our son's physical health went out of control in terms of him eating, etc., he started getting into fights. The kids would call him fat soul, whatever, fat something. And he would get angry and he would get into fights, and his dad would have to go to the parents because I'm going to call the police, that kind of thing. So it was like a domino effect. He kept getting bigger and bigger. And with that, when he got to 14 and he was ready to have a girlfriend, for example, the girls didn't want a fat boyfriend. So that also made his self-confidence even worse. Now, the good thing is that my son got the foundation from home. We taught him how to eat properly, I was not anywhere where I am now in terms of promoting healthy eating and healthy lifestyle. But even then, I knew that I shouldn't be feeding my kids the sugary cereals, the donuts and things like that. We provided healthy foods. So at about 16, something went off in my son's head. And I think it's because when he went to prom, he was probably the only fat boy at prom. And he did have a prom date, but he was the only fat boy at prom. And after that, he started eating properly. He started exercising regularly and became serious about losing the weight. And my son is now 40 years of age. He is an avid gym rat, if you would say. 7 days a week, he goes to the gym. I mean, I say to him, son, why not do 5? Because he has 3 little kids. Oh, no. He said, the gym is my time. He gets up at 4:30 every morning. He's in the gym at 5 o'clock. He puts in an hour. Then he has time to deal with the children and work, etc. He eats. He's a lot more into nutrition than me. He measures the amount of food he eats because he has told me multiple times, I know my body, he says. If I go overboard, I gain weight like that, and I don't want to have to deal with that. Even Christmas time when everybody's binging and overindulging, he does not really do that. And my son, very, very lean, still has like a 28 waist, flat tummy, and all that kind of stuff. Very energetic, very confident young man, because all of that picture that I painted also affected him academically. He was not doing well in school. We had a lot of issues in school where I had to go and sit in the class with him. And for a while, we never thought this young man would have finished high school, let alone go to college. And believe you me, my son has a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, a master's degree in educational development, and a master's degree in special education and management. So you can never give up on your child, no matter what the challenge is that you might have with them. Just stay with them, believe in them, encourage them. I believe that if you set the foundation, they will come back to it.
Well, I have a question. Is there something parents could do if they find their kids going down that slippery slope of eating all that junk food? Because you said that you didn't provide it at home, but it's when he went out into the world that he found this. Is there any way to give them the proper programming to say that, no, I don't want that, it's not good for me?
I think what we did was to teach them by example. Like, I never bought donuts. I mean, I'm not saying that I was 100% strict with nutrition. You just can't be, not in this culture at least. So, I mean, I would have birthday parties and I would bake the birthday cake and stuff. And the friends would come and they would have ice cream and stuff like that. But it wasn't an everyday thing. So I would say you teach your kids, and really that's how you teach anybody, by example. When they see you eating properly, because, you know, my son now says to me that he does what he does because of the example that I set for him then, and even now. Because I'm always on social media promoting healthy lifestyle, posting my exercise, and I see him, or he tells me that he and the children watch me on Instagram doing my little cooking and my exercise. Now, the fortunate thing is that the children's other grandparent, their mom's dad, is big into fitness. He plays baseball and golf and stuff like that. And he's 76 years physically fit. So they see that getting older doesn't mean that you have to necessarily be walking around with a cane. You can be healthy and fit even though you're 62 like I am, or their granddad is 76. So the answer to your question is teach them by example, and don't provide a lot of that junk in the home. If the kid if you're going to reward your children, for example, for something, rather than giving them a candy, give them an apple or something else, a toy or something like that. Don't associate a reward with an ice cream cone, or a reward with a donut, or a reward with a candy, because you are programming them. And like recently I went to New York to visit my other grandchildren, and I was eating a whole apple, and my granddaughter was crying. I said, "Why are you crying?" She said, "I want an apple." I gave her the apple, and she was just eating the whole apple. And the parents would give her a whole avocado, and she would eat a whole avocado. Why? She loves broccoli. She loves cauliflower raw. Why? Because the parents introduced those things to them when they first started eating. So if you introduce sweet cereal to your baby, your 8 months old, they're going to have the affinity for that sugar. But if you introduce avocado and spinach to them when they first start eating, they're going to have the affinity for that.
It just brought something to mind. You said reward them with an apple or something different than a candy bar.
Mm-hmm.
And that just reminded me of when you're sad or lonely or depressed, what's the first thing the movies and commercials tell you to do? Go get a pint of ice cream and just sit there and eat your ice cream. We need to change that programming, that when you feel bad, when you're depressed or angry or sad, go outside in nature, go for a walk, go play with a dog. Don't turn to the refrigerator to find your comfort. And if you model that for your children, then they will see you being responsible and healthy too.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's one of the problems with our children of today. They're not getting outside, kicking football, playing soccer, running up and down and burning that energy. They're not getting outside. Many of the children of today are cooped up inside playing video games and getting more and more overweight and obese. Whereas, growing up, we were outside all the time. And even my children, I had to be deliberate. It took a lot of sacrifice to get my kids involved in outdoor activities. But both of my children, my daughter and my son, they were both involved in soccer, and they were part of the soccer league for our little community and stuff. You've got to be intentional to get your kids. I know parents are very busy, but maybe an hour in the evening, rather than watching TV where the kids are watching cartoon and you're watching something else, sign them up for, dancing, sign them up for little league, sign them up for something, even once a week, for them to get out there. Children were never intended to be cooped up in front of TV, video games, and they need sunlight, because sunlight helps them with their mood. They have a lot of stress in school, and the cartoons and stuff stresses them out as well. And they have all these commercials coming in front of the children. But if you take them out, in fact, the whole family could go for a walk. Not everybody lives up north where it's ice cold at this time. You live in Florida, I live in Georgia. There are plenty of people listening that live in relatively comfortable weather. And even if it's cold, put on a coat and take the kids out. They will feel so much better. Their behavior will be better. They'll be more cooperative. You have happier children and happier parents.
Go build a snowman. Go sledding. Didn't I see you building a snowman when you got that freak snowstorm a few weeks ago?
I did. Yes, he sure did. And it's just cool, because I remember he always tells me that when his kids were smaller, he used to take them, and they lived in New Jersey. He used to always be out there in the heart of the winter with the kids. And they were very happy. There's no reason why we can't take our children outside. Even if it's not every day, once a week, just take them outside and let them burn, especially the boys. They need to burn the energy. And what happens when they don't do that? They become aggressive at school, and then they're labeled as attention deficit and behavioral disorder. And what do they want to do? Put them on drugs, and you comply because you're so sick and tired of this child getting into trouble. Whereas it could be that they're just bored and they need to get out and kick some ball and punch something, outside.
Well, I even see this with my puppy. If it's raining outside and they don't want to go outside, they start acting up inside the house until we're able to get them outside so they could burn that energy. Kids are the same way. I remember, I told you I went through all of the weight issues growing up. And when we were when my stepfather moved in, he was very healthy, very trim, very healthy. So after dinner, we would go out as a family and shoot hoops or go play tennis or take walks. We did it as a family.
A lot has to do with the parents. If some parents are couch potatoes, they like to sit around and that kind of thing. But just know that if you're a parent that sits around a lot and have your kids sitting around a lot, that's how you're training them to be. And your children deserve better. They need to be outside, running around and burning some energy and getting fresh air and getting sunlight and meeting other children. Because when you sign them up for these activities and you get them involved, you take them to the park, they meet other children. And that helps their social skills. So it's not just about having them eating healthily. It's a holistic approach. Like, I encourage, it is a holistic approach. Even walking around around your block, they meet other people. Your dogs meet other dogs, that kind of thing. That's why they encourage families, with like older people to have a dog, because it forces the elderly to get outside. You have to go take the dog out. So whatever really applies to the elderly applies to our age group, applies to the children. We need to be holistically healthy, body, mind, and spirit.
And it's so much easier to maintain than to get it back once you lose it. I know that I became very unhealthy because I let unmanaged stress, rule my life. And so when I say that change your habits from eating your feelings, I'm speaking from experience. Because when I felt uncomfortable, when my life was spiraling, when my health was in jeopardy, I turned to food, I turned to wine, I turned to sweets. And the worse I felt, the more sedative, the more I sat on the couch doing nothing. But then when I learned that all I had to do was get up and take a walk and change the way I thought about how I lived, it saved my life. And I wish that I had learned it earlier, because I wouldn't have had to go through 20 years of being seriously unhealthy. Well, probably more like 30 or 40 years of being unhealthy. And now that I'm 60 years old and I'm finally healthy, well, face it, I'm 60 years old. I really can't do all the things that I could have done when I was healthy as a youngster.
And yet we can say it's never too late. So for our listeners that are 60 or 58 or 70 or 80, get on board. If you're grandparents, get on board and get your grandchildren on board as well. Because if you live, say for example, some people live not too far from their grandchildren. Grandma and grandpa, auntie, uncle, go pick up those kids and volunteer to take them to the park to run around a little bit. It will help you with the bonding, and you will get healthier, and the grandchildren will get healthier as well. Grandparents, if you're eating healthily, when you get the grandchildren, teach them how to eat healthily and educate them. It's not enough to just say, oh, you shouldn't eat donuts. Tell them why you're choosing to eat an apple as opposed to a donut, because the children are smart. And if you explain to them, it'll remain. Because my granddaughter was having some sugary cereal the other day. The parents allow her to have that sugary cereal. I don't remember which one it's called, only on Saturday morning. And she called me on video, and she's 5, and she said, well, cereal is healthy. I said, which one is that? She told me, and I told her, no, it's not healthy. And she said, why? So that gave me an opportunity to let her know it has too much sugar, it has too much this, there's too much that. Having it once in a while is not bad, but it's not something that you should have every day. She was listening, and she said, okay. Now I know that even if she goes off course, when she's 10, 11, 12, maybe even a teenager, she'll remember that her grandmother said that to her at 5.
And I love that you said, explain to them why, because, well, I was the kind of kid, if you say, no, you can't do it, well, just because you said I can, I'm going to do it. But if I was told why, then possibly I might not have. But being raised, my mom was very thin and trim and healthy, but my dad wasn't. So I had that conflicting role models in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I ever realized what my dad was doing to his health, I would have been more apt to follow my mother's as a role model. But what I saw is, well, my dad is fine. He's overweight. He's doing fine. He does everything that he should do. But what I didn't realize, it was still taking a toll on his body. And nobody told me that he really wasn't as healthy as my little child thought he was.
That's the thing, because fortunately, as a child, you have a little bit more leeway, because but eventually the body can only take so much. Because my dad also passed at 37.
Ooh.
My dad died at 37 from a massive heart attack. At 37, he started having nausea and dizziness while he was out somewhere, and by the time they got him to the hospital, he died on the way. A massive heart attack at 37. My dad was overweight. My dad smoked. He drank. Of course, people who drink excessively never call themselves an alcoholic, and he functioned. He had business and he was doing well. But he was overweight, and he drank, and he smoked, and very, very stressed out. 37, which is one reason why. And I also had major health issues at 38 myself. Heart issues, depression, anxiety. And by the way, what folks need to know is that once one system of your body starts to fail, it's a domino effect.
Mm-hmm.
It's so important for you to teach your kids how to take the best care of themselves, and for you to teach them by example by taking the best care of yourself. Because once the heart's not function well, the lung doesn't function well, the kidney doesn't function, the brain doesn't function well, the skin, all the systems are interconnected. But when I didn't get it when my dad died at that age. I still didn't get it. I mean, I wasn't smoking, I wasn't drinking, but I was stressed and I wasn't eating the best. Then I got the wake-up call at 38. And that's why you and I can advocate to people and say, listen, you just absolutely have to take care of your health. Not just the diet, but the physical activity, but the outdoor activities, having fun, all of that is all of that.
Let's talk about stress. It's come up in my story. It's come up in your story. And face it, today, kids are stressed. It is stressful out there with bullying and school shootings. And, well, I remember we used to go out and play and never even thought about getting kidnapped or hurt in any way. It was just much safer back 50 years ago. So let's talk about stress, because it was unmanaged stress that caused me to put the stress on my body. So it was stress up here that caused me to stress out my body. And what Marva said is true. Your skin, your liver, your heart, your brain, it's all combined. And when my liver had all it could take, it came out in my skin in a full body rash. And not only was it the stress of all the junk in my liver stressing out my body, but it was this stress that was causing so many other issues. And meditation and taking a walk every day was the catalyst to turning that all around, to the point that I lost 100 pounds and I take no medication at all at 60 years old. So Marva, you told me you were stressed and you had heart issues at 38. How did you de-stress and manage your stress to get healthy?
But first of all, I had to recognize that I was stressed. Because in the midst of the stress, a lot of time we don't think that we're stressed. But I had hit rock bottom. So I was open to finding out what was going on and finding a solution. Because I physically had all these issues, the heart issue and all of that. But I also couldn't sleep. And I was fearful and I was anxious all the time. So everything was affected, body, mind, spirit, everything was out of whack. So at that point, I was open, I was searching, I was open to find what was going on. I started reading books. I am of the Christian faith. One of the first collection of books that I read was the Bible for myself, because I would go to church and be preached at, and I didn't know what the teachings were in that book. And I started reading other books like Secret by Rhonda Byrne and so many other books that are body, mind, spirit related. And I realized that I had the power within me to take back my life. I had gone through divorce. I had gone through foreclosure, all kinds of issues that led to my emotional ill health, that led to my physical ill health, because everything is interconnected. So I started journaling. That was one thing that I started doing, just writing my feeling every day. I would just write my feeling, whatever came to my mind. If I felt like cussing, I would do it. If I felt like blaming, whatever it is, Thanksgiving, whatever, that's how I started. And then I started doing just Thanksgiving journaling. I would write 10 things or 20 things to which I was grateful. So I started journaling. And then I started meditating, which is just being still. That's what meditation is not, although yes, that's part of meditation, but just finding time to be still. Turn off the TV, get off social media, don't answer your phone, turn off the phone, even for 5 minutes, just being still. And that's where that walking in nature comes. Because if you would leave the phone or turn off the phone or put it in your pocket and just be outside for 5 minutes, just you and the nature and the birds and everything, that's meditation. You're centering yourself. You're connecting with that inner being within you. Going to bed earlier, or 15 minutes before you go to sleep, you go in your bed and you just kind of read something and stuff like that. That's what helped me to connect with myself and to start lowering that stress level. Believe it or not, a lot of the food that we eat stresses us. The sugar, the excess sugar stresses us. And sometimes our children have behavioral issues. And it's because of what we are feeding them. That sugar, The studies have shown that even people in prison, a lot of them have behavioral issues that led to imprisonment because of what they eat, because of what they've been eating since childhood. Okay.
That yellow dye, I'll never forget taking a young boy to a park, and he was the perfect child, and it got hot, and we gave him a Gatorade, a yellow Gatorade, and it was like a switch was flipped on. He turned into a maniac. Come to find out later on, it was that yellow dye.
And a lot of the things that these dyes that they put in the food that we buy in America are not allowed in the foods in many other countries, like European countries and other countries. They cannot sell the same Gatorade, for example, that they sell to us in the US overseas. So that's another thing. We have to educate ourselves, read labels. If there are too many things on that label, don't give it to your kid. If your kid is thirsty, for example, give them water. If they want a little flavor, put a piece of apple or cucumber or orange slice or something in it, rather than handing them a quote unquote juice, which is not juice, it's just water with sugar and other flavor. Don't give them sodas. Don't ever give your children sodas and juices. It's really bad. My grandkids, their parents have decided that once in a while they'll give the kids juice, maybe once a week, but they don't give them every day, whereas many parents give their kids this juice, even though on it claims to be 100% whatever. Even this organic crap that they put on people's food, it's not necessarily so. Organic juice for children, what's on the label? 14 grams of sugar added, along with this dye, that dye, the other dye. And by the way, I found out that the FDA is not legally liable to put everything it doesn't hold you liable for putting everything that's in that juice or in that package in that food on that package. So eat whole foods. If you're gonna eat meat, if you're gonna eat steak instead of bacon and sausage and things like that. If you're gonna eat foods, eat real foods.
Good, solid advice. Oh, Marva's having a little bit of allergy problems.
I live in Georgia, and Georgia has high allergy issues.
It's starting in Florida now too.
It is so challenging, and we're having blossoming flowers now, and yesterday this started.
It happens, and you know, I feel better not taking the medicine than when I used to pop a pill for everything. Because I'd pop a pill, it would cause a side effect, which would make me want to take another pill, which would cause a side effect, and then I pop another pill. Now I use raw local honey, and that's my allergy relief.
Yes, I do too. Every day I use raw local honey, and I use ginger root. And you, Francine, introduced me to essential oils. And I want to thank you so much, because it even though you hear me and so it would have been so much worse if I wasn't using essential oils.
Right.
I mean, I have my diffuser with my essential oil going on right now, and then I incorporated some humidifier, which helps a lot. But the environment is messed up, and that also, you know, affects us in one way or the other.
Well, thank you for that feedback about the essential oils, because if anybody wants to know more about that, just drop a comment, and I will definitely give you more information about allergy relief through essential oils.
And I heard a physician on YouTube say recently that doTERRA, which is the brand that you sell, is one of the cleanest, because not all essential oils are created equal, of course. I wouldn't go to Walmart, for example, to go buy an essential oil. I usually research, and I heard one physician say doTERRA is, and not that he sells doTERRA, but you have to be careful what essential oils you buy, and he said doTERRA is one of the better brands.
Well, a lot of scientists use doTERRA for their experimentation because they know that what it says is in the bottle is the only thing in the bottle. There is no contamination, no fillers, and no toxins. So they know that if they want to test lavender, they buy a bottle of lavender, and that's the only thing in the bottle.
Yeah.
Well, Marva, I would like to invite you back, and I would love to do one of the recipes either already in the Confidence Club for Kid playground, or I would love for you to do one of your own recipes that's in one of your books that we could do to show the parents how easy it is to cook healthy, and then we could put it up into the Confidence Club for Kids playground so the kids could see it too. What do you think? Can we invite you back?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. We'll work on that.
Tell everybody how to find you on socials and how to find your books.
Okay, so my name is Marva Riley, M-A-R-V-A Riley. I have a YouTube channel you can subscribe to, and I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and I have a Facebook group called The Doctor in You. And my books, I have 4 books. They are all on Amazon for sale. Just go on Amazon and put Marva Riley author, and you'll see all 4 of my books for sale. They are $9.99 each. And like Francine, I'm all about holistic health and wellness, and it begins in the home. You cannot expect the school to teach your kids how to eat healthy and how to practice a holistic healthy lifestyle. It begins at home. The school can reinforce what you start teaching at home, but the teaching begins at home. Our children are our future. We got to take care of them, and that begins with mom and dad and grandparents and aunties and uncles and neighbors and that kind of thing. And when we raise healthy children emotionally, spiritually, and physically, we will have healthy adults later on.
My whole mission, let's raise strong and confident kids today so we don't have to fix broken adults later. And with that, I'm going to say bye for now. Please like and subscribe, and we'll be back.
And share.
Bye.